Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm Pauline Narvas. Welcome to Inspiring Figures, a series of inspiring conversations with the people that you should really know about. This month, I'll be talking to one of my friends that we haven't actually caught up in such a long time, but I reached out because she's been doing some incredible things that I've seen on social media, and I think she's one of those people that everyone should know about and understand like what she's up to. So I can't wait to introduce her. But before that, I just wanted to say thanks again for joining, and I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe, you're wearing your mask, and you're social distancing. COVID has taken longer than I thought it would, so make sure that you're staying safe and well. Without further ado, I'd love to welcome this month's inspiring figure, Esraa. Hello, Esraa. It's so lovely to see you. It's so nice to have you here. Honestly, thank you so much for joining today. How are you doing?
Thank you, everybody. Hi, how are you? I'm super happy to be here today. Woo!
I love your energy this morning.
Every morning, really. I'm a very high person.
Yeah. I mean, we've known each other for maybe like a couple of years now through the tech scene, and I
think starts 2018, or maybe no, actually 2017.
It was 2017, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy! It's crazy how
right?
it's crazy how much like time has passed, but I feel like we still. I don't know. It feels like yesterday since we first met, and our energy is just like connected. It's great. But yeah, thanks again for joining today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy.
So, for those who like aren't familiar with what you do, could you give us a bit of a little introduction for those tuning in?
Oh yeah, sure. So I'm a bit confusing. Like I do some really random stuff. So I do UI UX. I'm a UI UX developer full time. But I also do web development as a freelancer. So I always like to say I just like to build really good stories and put them on the web. That's always what I like to say. Like this is how I describe what I do. I like stories. I've always loved stories. And now I just make stories appear on the web and just live on the web. So that's really what I like to do. But I also like communities. And I've been working, I think, for like some years now on just building communities in technology, and I love bringing especially girls and females into communities and talk tech. I really love that. It's one of my greatest passions. So yeah, I like coding. I'm a nerd, a native nerd. But I also like communities and talking technology.
Yeah. I mean, like that's how we first met. We first met through, all the communities that we both got involved in, and that's exactly it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm always like super interested whenever I have someone on Inspiring Figures just to talk about like their journeys into how they got to where they are now. And I think it's really important just because it encourages people who are listening in or the people who read it afterwards to see like what sort of paths you can take to become, a UI/UX developer or a freelance developer and stuff like that. So, at the end of the day, sharing your stories, like you said, it's really impactful. You don't know who it might, impact in the long run.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a bit about how you got to your, UI/UX developer role, and just how you got there? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, sure. So surprisingly, I always wanted to be a mechanical engineer. And it actually wasn't until I think 2015 I finished school. I finished high school in Egypt, in Cairo, where I'm originally from. Actually, I forgot to mention that completely. But yeah, I'm Egyptian. And I finished my high school back in 2015 and joined a university on track to be a mechanical engineer. And then on my first year, I just completely discovered a whole new passion for software. And instead of just focusing on the mechanics, we used to do like a production technology course. And I remember being in like small, not actually small, they were quite big workshops and like machinery places. And I used to focus all the time on, I'm more interested about the software behind that than just the hardware and the machine itself and the mechanics. And That's when I actually realized I want to do a whole shift, and I shifted and started over again in 2016. I came to London and started a whole new degree in computer science. So I have done 1 year in general engineering. Probably will never get me any sort of job. But yeah, I've always loved quantum mechanics. It's my second biggest passion after coding. But then I realized I love coding, and I joined a computer science degree. And then 1 year, actually no, 1 month after my first year, I happened to also get accepted as a data analyst in American Express. And I started, really, I was 20 back then, and I started working as a data analyst in American Express alongside university. And I used to be on a professional pathway scheme that my university, City University of London, offered, whereby you just work 4 days a week and go to uni, be a student for 1 day a week. So it was really, really tough. I've continued doing this just until this July when I graduated. So yeah, I've been working and studying at the same time, and it's been really, really, really hectic, but very interesting. And now I'm kind of like now reaping all the good things finally. But yeah, but it's been quite a journey, to be honest. I never saw myself as someone who codes or builds programs or talks technology. And that was only like, you know, when people say I started coding at 3, I started coding at 10. Well, I started coding at 19 years old.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I think I quite like delved into it, and I got a lot of understanding and a lot of everything and a lot of passion as well. So yeah, I had a different background, really.
Yeah, I mean, you have like bundles of energy, Esraa. So I'm no matter, like I bet if you decide to change your career tomorrow, you'd excel.
I have no idea. It's still, oh my God, this still pops up in my mind like every, I don't know, month or two. I'm like, I'm quite sure I want to do computer science. Do I want to go back to quantum mechanics and be like a physicist? I know.
I swear there's like a rise of like because I speak to a lot of women in this show, but like there's like a rise of women who sort of want to do everything, and it's sort of inspiring, but they're always really good at one thing, really, really, really good, but then they also like dip their toes in other aspects, and I think that's really good. That's really powerful, because you bring in different perspectives.
You know, my grandpa, bless his soul, he used to always tell me one thing. He always used to tell me, Esraa, you should know one thing about everything and everything about one thing. So he always used to say that, and I still go by it until now.
That's so profound. That's the quote for this for this session. No, thanks for that. I actually wanted to ask, because like you talked about how, you know, you switched to like computer science and then you got involved in that. So recently I launched a podcast, and I did a episode with Matt, my partner, about if degrees are worth it. And this is a very controversial question, but I wanted to get your perspective on what are your thoughts around like if your degree was worth it, and if you're getting into tech, did you need that computer science degree? Just wanted to know what your thoughts on that, because it is an interesting subject that I like asking and talking about.
Yeah. I've noticed. No, to be honest, I think there's no answer fits all for this, because it really depends on the role. There are so many roles that still fall under technology, you know. For instance, now I do web development as part of my job, and I do it completely based off what I learned online. Okay, so ever since I started learning about computer science back in 2016, I started taking online courses, and now I have like some really interesting projects going on. Like I'm building websites for the government here, so it's really interesting. But that was only based off my I'd say just individual efforts and individual learning. However, some other things that I've got into, like my data analyst role, completely depended on things like data structures and things that you'd normally cover as part of your degree. So I think really it depends. It massively depends on your role. But I also, to be honest, I really believe the degree has given me everything so far, because even the jobs that have not really massively related to a lecture content or what's being covered in lecture, it still had some parts of knowledge that you needed to tell that you have learned in the lecture, ways of how software work, how different layers, the architectural bits of the software. Actually, very interestingly, yesterday I was involved in a call that basically it handled some sort of infrastructure setup for a server. And the only reason I understood what they were saying when it comes to things like sizing of the server and all of that, because it's physical. Unfortunately, it's not on the cloud. It's a bloody physical server.
Oh, no.
The only reason I understood was not because of my HTML, CSS, React courses that I've taken online. It was because I did a whole like networks and operating systems course back at uni. So yes, I think it's worth it. Maybe not in 100% of the role, but there are bits in the role that you can tell, oh wow, yeah, that person knows the nitty-gritty of computer science, some very fundamental aspects of computer science.
Yeah.
But I always still think there are so many parts or so many areas in technology that can be very much learned on the job. So yeah, it totally depends on the role.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Because like in my tech role, in my third rotation as part of my grad scheme, I went into like more of an infrastructure sort of job role, and I I actually knew nothing. And when they were talking to me about like the hardware and stuff like that, I touched on it like during my computing course at a GCSE level, but I didn't have all of that networking and everything you just talked about. I was like, I have no idea. Like because I'm self-taught, I have no idea. But like I learned on the job, but there's still some times where I'm like, if I did do a computer science degree, I wonder if this would make more sense or if I'd understand it quicker, if that makes sense. So yeah, you're totally correct. Like I feel like it does depend on the job, and it does depend on like also like how much you make the most out of your degree as well, because I did a degree in biomed, and I feel like I got the most out of it, like in terms of university experience, and also like the contents. Like obviously I don't refer back to science as much nowadays, but like it's still useful and I don't regret it. So yeah, it's just really interesting to know other people's like perspectives on that, for sure. Yeah. So like moving on then, I wanted to talk about tech community, because that's something that, like I said, we connected over a tech community, and that's fantastic. You've been involved in all sorts of tech communities. I swear, it's like it's actually been really hard to keep track of what you've been doing, to be honest, Esraa.
Yeah.
And
I feel like an all over the place kind of human. So.
Yeah, you know what? This is why we vibe. I'm exactly the same. So could you tell us a bit more about like what you've been involved in over the past couple of years?
Yeah, sure. So when I started, I think that was back in 2016. And once I joined university, I joined the tech site at my university, and that's kind of like how it all rolled out back. Like after that, everything was like just popping out of nowhere, and I started meeting people in hackathons. I think I've done like over my university, the course of my degree, I think I've done about 18 hackathons, something like that, where I just used to travel and go there and meet new people. And it was very, very, very tough because I used to also work. So I used to almost be working full time. And then on the weekends, I'd be like, hi, Baba, I'm just going to Barcelona. I'll see you next Monday. And yeah, it was really interesting. My family really think I'm like, are you okay? People take the weekend to just rest and stay home, and you're going to Barcelona. Are you sure you want to do that? So it was really interesting. So I've actually traveled. One of my biggest passions is traveling as well. So hackathons is one of the best ways to code and travel, and also be in a really beautiful community. Like absolutely, I love hackathons for that specific reason. I just love communities. I've always been a very curious person, but when I was young, I wasn't really social in a way. Like I wasn't the most sociable person in the world. I used to be a proper nerd, like, you know, study for like 10 hours a day, no one, go to your, I used to play sports as well. So it's like, okay, you go to your sport lesson, finish, done, go back, study till you drop. So I had a bit of a lot of curiosity about people. And I think hackathons were really one of the best ways to feed that and be like, oh, you do that. Oh, that's interesting. And this is how it really grew. But then I started giving tech talks as well. And it wasn't just a one-way conversation. It was also me talking to so many people and getting feedback and talking about technology. And this is when everything about tech talks really started, offline at least. And that was back, I think, in 2018. I started my first talk. And ever since, I've talked in like MLH events. I've talked in some hackathons. I've even done some university talks. I remember one of the best one. Like, I love it. It's absolutely one of my favorites. It was in the University of Bath. Yeah. It was to women in tech Bath. And it was really cool. Like, it's one of the sweetest communities I've ever been in. So yeah, I gave a talk on technology, the whys and the hows of getting started into technology. And it was really, really nice. So yeah, mainly hackathons, I'd say, but also a lot of love, like so much love for travel and talking.
Yeah, I can tell. I love it. Yeah. No, it sounds like you've got involved in a lot of things. And I think like every time you've done a talk, from what I've seen anyway, it has impacted a lot of people, and it's just really inspiring to see. Yeah.
I really hope so. I really do hope so. I'm horrible at social media. Needless to mention, I'm so horrible. Like, I do a talk and it's something big, and then like 10 years later, I remember, oh, I forgot to post about that. It's about time. Okay. So I'm really, really bad, to be honest. I need to like level up that. I really need to up my social media game, but I promise I'll try and do that.
You know what? You have like been doing it, because I've been like looking at him. I've been like, yes, Esraa, go, Esraa. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. Everyone really is so supportive. But the one thing they don't know is this happened like literally 10 years ago, and I'm just being super behind. So like, first time, I wish like I can just go home from the talk and post it and hype myself up. But that never happens. I just go back home and start talking to my parents. You know what happened and all that, and then I go straight to bed.
Yeah.
So I really need to focus on that.
You need like a social media assistant to follow you around, take videos of you, take photos of you.
Yeah.
That's what
like this morning, actually, a bit of a funny joke, really. My mom was like, "Can you please make me some coffee? Or are you an influencer now? You're not gonna make me any coffee?" Because I told her I'm like having a talk with you, and she was like, "You're gonna make me some coffee, or you're an influencer now? You're gonna make it." I'm like, "Okay, mom, no drama, please."
That's so sweet. So in terms of these like tech communities, then what do you think has been the benefits of getting involved in them? This is mostly for people who also want to get involved in tech communities, but you know, a bit unsure if it's the right thing for them.
The best thing about it is connections, really. I feel like people don't talk enough about how important having connections is. It really is important. I think I've got 2 out of my 3. So I've done 3 placements over the last 3 years, and 2 out of the 3 of them were because I've met people and I've talked to them casually about what I do and what's my passion and why I do it and the technologies that I love and the new languages I'm learning and all that. And then literally out of nowhere, I get an email saying, "Hi, Esraa, we have this vacancy up. Are you interested? Do you want to check it out?" So I think people don't talk enough about connections. One of the worst things when I came here, and it still exists, to be honest, is I don't have any connections whatsoever in Cairo. Like, I left when I was basically a child, just out of school, and I came back a fully fledged grad, and I have absolutely no one that I know or anything. So it's still one of my biggest struggles, and I still managed to get a job and everything, and I'm doing the freelance, but it was one of the worst feelings because back in the UK, I know too many people, everyone like is happy to help and all that, and here I have no one. So I was really feeling disconnected in a way. So I think the biggest benefit is connections, but also there is a lot of emotional support that can come from
Oh
a
yeah.
tech community, because we feel the struggles of each other. You know, like if we were doctors, we would feel how hard it is dealing with sick people and patients. Same for technology people. We understand how frustrating it is to have something broken or not working for no reason. So I think the emotional support is a big part as well.
Yeah, no, I can't agree enough because like I think back at all of the internships that I did before I got my first like full-fledged tech role, and without the connections that I made in the local Sheffield community, in the local Sheffield tech community, I wouldn't have got them. So yeah, it is definitely
Yeah.
like it's definitely so important to
Yeah.
have like those
And it
connections.
also opens your eyes. It really is an eye opener. Like there are so many things that I've learned because I've been sitting with people talking about it and I didn't know much about it. And I'm like, I need to check that out. I have
Yeah.
absolutely no clue what they're talking about. So I think this is how I learned so many things over the years.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I mean, it's communities have a lot of benefit, but I think that connection is definitely one of them, like one of the main ones. Like, I mean, I've met some of my closest friends through like hackathons and tech events and
Yeah.
stuff, and it is fantastic when you sort of meet the people who are like you and who are always willing to give you that helping hand. So that is great, yeah. And so you talked about how you've sort of been everywhere doing, you love traveling, you love going to the hackathons and like in Barcelona for a weekend instead of relaxing, just coding away for 24 hours. And it's fantastic that you get involved in so many of these things. But what is your like main advice for those who want to get involved, but also there's that like delicate balance of making sure you don't burn out, making sure that you prioritize your health. What's your thoughts on that and your advice on that?
I always say you have to block some time every day for one simple small thing that you do for yourself. For me, this is running. Of course, you definitely see my daily, like I'm going to run.
I'm
I
so
do it because
jealous. I can't run.
it literally holds me accountable. Like when I don't do that, I feel like, oh, people were expecting me to run today. I need to go out and run. So this is the one thing I do for my health every day. And
Mhm.
there's so many days where I'm not really actually running. I'm more like a sloth, just walking because I'm super drained and tired from work. But I still make it a block of my time every day, totally dedicated to just my mental health and my physical health. And
Yeah.
I also advise if someone is kind of like struggling to see what can just be taken out and like stripped out
Yeah.
from the schedule, because sometimes we have a very tight schedule and we're like trying to juggle so many things at a time, but there is always that one thing that can just literally be ignored, and can be ignored at least for like a couple of days until you have a bit more energy. So that's something
Mhm.
that I always try to do when I feel like I'm really overwhelmed now. What can I take out?
Yeah,
But
no.
yeah, the running really helps, by the way. I'm a horrible runner still, but it really works.
I can't run at all. I've tried to like go out and
Yeah,
like
but you're
do like
amazing in
running.
your workouts. Like, bless your soul, I can't wake up that early to work out. If you see my face in the morning, you'd be depressed. It's so like, get out of my way.
I'm so like I'm always we were just talking about this before we went on, but I'm always just like up ready at 7 a.m. ready to
I
like
can't
do
do
my work.
that.
But I can't run. Like I can do everything. Well, not everything else, but I can do most things like, weight like lifting weights and like body weight
Yeah, you're 10
exercise.
times fitter than me. You have no idea.
No, when someone tells me to run, I'm out of breath after like not even 2 minutes, like a minute. I'm like, oh my God, my cardio isn't very good. Like, honestly, like I'm good at everything else, but like cardio fitness, I'm just like, can't do it. But no, that's so true. Like, you do need to block out some time for yourself because otherwise
Yeah,
you'll burn out quickly if you just focus
yeah.
on tech. And after all, like, tech isn't just about tech. Tech is run by humans, and
Oh
if you
no.
can't like focus properly, then
Yeah.
it's not going to get you anywhere. But yeah, so onto like your just I've been tuning into your updates as like a woman in tech, and you've been doing these tech talks that I've seen on Instagram, and I absolutely love them. I love like how your personality just really shines through, and you make things really engaging. It's fantastic. So
Oh,
I just
really?
wanted to talk about, yeah, honestly, yeah. So I just wanted to talk about what is your like inspiration behind creating this like techie content, and like could you also tell us a bit about the process of creating your content?
Oh my God, you're gonna be so disappointed with the process. You have no idea. Okay, I'll start with the inspiration. So the main reason I'm doing it really is because, as I told you, I've been doing talks online, offline, and I just used to be catching up with so many people and so many friends.
Yeah.
But 2020 has been an absolute beast when it comes to any sort of communication. So I've really tried to take it online a bit. Although I really suck at social media, but I've been trying really hard. That's one reason, really, is just to take what I've been doing offline online. The other thing is because I've recently moved again back to Cairo, Egypt, and it's been incredibly disappointing seeing how people, especially here. I mean, I know it's global. I've seen it in the UK, but people treat social media, in my honest opinion, in a way it should not really be treated. Like, people don't realize how much time they actually spend on social media. And it's taken me, I think, about 2 months from arriving here, just literally switching off completely from social media and turning off my notifications and everything. And I felt so much better. But I felt that TikTok in particular is coming so much popular. It's getting so ridiculously popular, and people are spending so much time doing stuff that they might, in the short term, okay, they're very amusing and they're really having a blast and all that. But then after that, I'm sorry, I really don't want to be like the boring human being, like stop being too serious and dramatic. I really am not. But it's just a waste of time. This is a waste of our lives. And we're very young to be spending the best years of our lives just doing only dances on TikTok. Like, I'm really being a mama here, but I really mean it. So I felt like, I'm gonna do my own tech talks.
Yeah, no, definitely more power to you.
I felt like I really want to challenge the content that our generation is spending so much time just consuming. I want to challenge that. And I also believe that, especially in Cairo, because there are so many people here, basically everything, even like the government and everything is being shifted online. They're really like they're doing like a level up of their game on everything technology wise. So everything is being online, but at the same time, people are not exactly aware of the consequences of, for instance, giving away your data or things like that. Like, I still see people send their address to someone who sells jewelry on Instagram, and it's so common. And I'm like, whoa, do you realize what you're doing? So I always think this is the best time to start a tech conversation, and especially in Egypt, we really need to foster and to start a proper tech conversation and talk about consequences and talk about why do this, why don't do this. Please don't give away your information on Instagram. It's killing me. It's killing me on the inside, and it's so common. I feel like when I first came, I was like, oh, that's a thing. And then I realized everyone's doing. My mom's doing it. She's like, I bought you that really beautiful hair conditioner for your hair from my favorite pharmacy on Instagram. And I'm like, you gave someone our names and our home address. So it's really interesting. And I really wanted to start that conversation. I think it's a really good conversation.
Yeah, no, I think it's like, I didn't actually know that was the whole thing behind it, but it's so inspiring because, like, you're so correct, like, especially in 2020 where we're stuck in our homes most of the time and everyone's online more. We do need to spread that awareness of, what is out there and how you can better use social media, because obviously like you can like take breaks from social media, and that's obviously that's encouraged, especially now. I think like I've taken a few breaks from social media this year because
Yeah.
I couldn't take it. There's too many things going on.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but at the same time, there's that like other aspect of it where it's like, okay, you're on social media. How can you mindfully consume the content that you're
Exactly.
consuming? So it's not just like you said, dances on
Exactly.
TikTok.
Exactly.
It's
Also, one of the other reasons, and I really want to mention that with you today, is there are so many professions in the world that are still not given enough attention on social media. And I'll mention doctors, for instance. These people have literally taken the whole 2020 burden on their shoulders and have done an absolutely amazing job. They've helped people so gracefully, and it just disappoints me so much that doctors don't get enough attention on social media because they don't wear that expensive like jewelry, or that expensive whoever, or does that to their hair, or you know. I think a doctor should get enough attention just as much as a fashion blogger slash I don't care gets. You know, like, to be honest, these people are the ones who have just suffered the most in 2020. They've been drained and they've been burnt out, and I really want people to start talking really intellectual stuff, much more intellectual stuff, whether it be medicine or technology or astrophysics. I don't care. I think people need to start talking a bit more intellectually in social media, so that we close that gap. To close that gap between real life, where you have fantastic doctors as friends and you have fantastic people who do really interesting stuff and they're still interesting, and then social media where you have mainly bloggers, people who review food, people who review fashion, and they are the famous ones. I think these two worlds are parallel, but they're not very related at all, you know?
Yeah.
I think we need to bridge that gap.
Yeah, it's almost like normalizing like real life in social media instead of like living a like social media world, almost like living in that sort of like fake world, if that makes sense. Yeah, totally. That's really good. I mean, like that's so impactful. You've just given me loads of things to think about. I'm like,
I know,
my mind's just thinking about those things. It's incredible. No, that's really good. It's really nice that there's people like you who are like dedicating time to you know, create like projects like these to ensure that there's that education piece. So
I genuinely, I'm really scared of social media. Like, most of the time I'm really scared of social media because thankfully, thank God, I have a really good offline life. I have an amazing group of friends, and they've been through my life with me, and they know everything about me, you know, like I have that emotional support offline. So for me, social media is nothing really that I care that much about. So to take that step and be like, I'm gonna talk on social media, that was an extra burden on me, because I felt like this is a world that I'm really scared of. But you know what? I'm still gonna go ahead and take that risk and just start doing it. So I do encourage everyone, please, if you're doing whatever you're doing, you are still so important. You matter, and you need to get to voice yourself and to voice what you're doing online, so that people, at least those who are shy of doing it, can relate to you and can start supporting you.
Yeah. I mean, this is exactly like one of the reasons I started Inspiring Figures, so I can have people who can use my platform to raise their voice a little bit. And you've given me so many things to think about there, Esraa. Honestly, I'm sort of like overwhelmed and like blown away. That's so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I just wanted to ask then, like, for my next question about like some of your upcoming projects. Like, I was stalking your website, and I can see that it's coming soon. I'm very excited. I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? What does Esraa have up her sleeve? Can you tell us a bit more about what you have coming up?
I really hate to be, you know, like that kind of person, but it's not going to be the most exciting website in the world. Before you get too excited about that, Pauline.
I'm so excited for you.
Basically, you know, the thing is, I'm a freelance web developer, and I still don't have my full portfolio online because I've never had time. And it's a really interesting trade-off that I've always had to make between, do I have time now to advertise and put everything online, or do I actually have so much work and I'm too busy to do that? So now I'm trying to kind of like gather a bit of what I've done over the years and put it online. So it's more of an informative page, no blogging involved or whatsoever, because I don't have time for that. But I'm also really happy because when it's live, again, I'll be like able to show some of my clients, like, here is some bits that I've done. Unfortunately, most of the web development that I've done was in a corporate environment. And one of the challenges of that is you don't really get to take your portfolio away when you're leaving. So I'm like, I promise I could do that. This is how I talk to my clients. I promise, see that bank? I've done that and this and that. So it's a bit of a challenge, really, trying to get people to trust you and trust your service and your skills. But I mean, it's in process, really. But yeah, once this is done, I hope I can give a bit of message of what I've done over the years. Here are my skills. Here is the support for that and all that, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's really important, I think, as developers to have that outlet to show, oh, this is what I can do. Because sometimes, especially nowadays, like people like reading, people still read CVs, but like a quick like search on the internet about who you are can reveal so much about like your abilities and what you can do and what value you can bring to
especially my role, because at the end of the day, I'm still a UI UX developer / web developer, so people expect me to have things online. So it's really challenging.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I always love like looking at portfolios. I don't know why. It's like, I don't know, I spent like 2 months building mine and changing it over the years, so I'm always really interested when people like post their own, and I don't know, it's so exciting. Cool. Well, we can't wait to see that, Esraa. The time has flown by, so I just wanted to ask you one last question around what you're looking forward to the most for the rest of 2020 or even 2021, if you have anything coming up or anything like that.
Oh my god. Can I cry now? No, I'm going to be completely honest, because you're a friend at the end of the day. I hate nothing in the world more than 2020. Like, genuinely, it's so much, in so many ways, it's just drained me. Like, I am a very bubbly person at the end of the day and all that, but honestly, behind all that is a very drained human being emotionally, and I hate every bit of this year. So I'm literally counting down till the end of this year. And the other thing is, I'm trying to make no plans for 2021, because I'm someone who normally goes by a plan. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I'm just not cut out to follow a plan, to do something without a plan.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this year, every single plan that I've made has completely been thrown out of the window. Nothing has happened whatsoever. So I've had so many instances of being completely let down and broken this year because my plan just didn't happen. So I'm trying to take it easy on myself and be like, you know what? You're a very hardworking individual. You're very creative in what you do. How about you just let it flow, you know? Like, just let God do what they want to do to you in 2020 and just stop thinking about it. And this is really what I've been trying to do, to just shut this off and be like, just leave it for now. Because I think it's a very good lesson that I've learned growing up, is you don't always have to plan things. If you're doing your job really well, you're putting in all the effort that you can, and you're really doing your best, things do come out that are actually good things, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just really trying to do that. It's so much easier said than done. And I still get days where I'm like, shall I write my plan for 2021 and hang it on the wall and be like, okay, shut up, Esraa, you don't want to do that. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I mean, that's so inspiring, because like I'm someone who's always had a plan, but I have been told by close friends, they've said, I think you might benefit from not really having that structure and not having like goals. Just like living your life without that, like, every single minute of your day is like, geared towards a calendar or like a to-do list. So no, that is really inspiring. You've given me so many things to think about as well. I feel a bit like overwhelmed and like outed here. Like,
so I'm really glad. I'm glad.
No, awesome. No, it's been great. Thank you so much. Like, so I said that was my final question, but for my last question, where can people find you online?
Ooh. That's a very hard question. So, I I guess you'll be tagging me in that video. That's one way you can find
Instagram.
me. Yeah, there you go. So it's Instagram, it's EY Dandash. That's my username. I'm not really on Twitter. I managed to delete my Twitter account a couple of years ago, I think. I'm also, I think, Instagram is like my main source because really, I do my tech talks on it. And other than that, I'm not really the most online sociable person in the world. So I don't know, maybe Instagram. But I'm also very responsive when it comes to like emails. So people can email me. They'll find the email on Instagram. I love my email. That's the only good channel for me that I just actually respond to.
I love that. Yeah, no, I love that. We'll obviously share all of your like any of your posts or any of your Instagram posts or anything like that on the write-up. But that's actually concluded today's like inspiring figures conversation, Esraa. I just want to say thank you again so much for taking the time to be a part of this and to like share your wisdom. There's so many things that I'm so excited to think about and write about and share with like the people who like listen in and tune in every month. So honestly, it's been such an honor to have you.
It's been a pleasure just catching up with you again. I feel so happy, and I just got that so many memories just come back to me.
It's exactly the same as me. I'm like, oh my god, I remember when we like, you know, connected the last time we like saw each other face to face. But yeah, so as usual, I'll be doing like a write-up of our conversation, which I can share with everyone, and you can catch that all on inspiringfigures.co. Thanks so much again, everyone. Stay safe wherever you are, and we'll see you again next month.
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.